Welcome to the PokerStrategy.com TV World Championship, where 42 players have come here to London to battle it out across 7 heats in a hope of winning from a $42,000 prize pool. But before they can get close to the money and the title, they must survive their own heat. Only one of these 6 players will be going through to the final. In Seat 1, hoping to make use of his home advantage is Londoner and UK qualifier Callum Noble. In Seat number 2 is David Boss, a 26-year-old poker coach hailing from Germany. Alongside him is fellow countryman Manik Losa. Now based in the UK, he's no stranger to live events and is one of the favourites going into the heat. Hailing from Russia in Seat 4 is Gregory Kamadulin. With 5 years poker experience, he'll be feeling comfortable at the table, though perhaps not with Austrian poker coach Thomas Turok on his left. An uber-confident political science student Eric Loshan in Seat 6. Let's head to the action now with our commentators Trevor Harris and Neil Channing.
You're very welcome to Heat 2 of the PokerStrategy TV World Championship. I'm Trevor Harris alongside Neil Channing. The both of us feeling decidedly old because every player around this table, Neil, are in their 20s.
Yeah, I mean, as someone in his early to mid-30s, looking at this table, it looks like none of them have started shaving yet.
Never believe, Neil Channing, at the poker table or off it. Right, here's Osa with the King-Queen offsuit.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting heat, Trevor. A lot of the players are talking about this one as the heat of death. There's a few of the guys on this table very involved with poker strategy as trainers and instructors, so the standard should be very high tonight. And I think Manik Losa might have been the favourite possibly going in. But I think a few of these have played before, they know each other's game, and there might be some interesting table dynamic going on because of that.
Well, Kamadulin called the raise with Queen 9, and he's got a flush draw now.
One checks.
No help for Lucy, the initial raiser.
Seat 3 checks.
And it's going to come out batting, I suspect. Now it's been checked round to it. 16,000 in the middle.
Seat 4 bets. 11,000 total. 11,000 to you, sir.
That should get the job done.
Seat 1 folds. Seat 3 folds.
Yeah, this first level, the blinds are very small. I don't really advocate getting too involved with trashy hands on this level. I think all you can really do is have a bad start. A good start isn't enough of a good thing to really make much difference to your winning chances. But a lot of players like to try and get out there and get in front. I think with an aggressive table like this, though, my strategy will be to sit back and let them get on with it.
Well, plenty of smiles and plenty of laughter around the table already. And these young players.
Well, it's funny, Queen 9 suited won the first hand for Grigory Kamadulin, and he's picked it up again, so it would be pretty strange if he didn't play it this time. And I guess he looked like he was kind of smirking to himself when he looked at the same hand in pretty much the same kind of situation.
Ace 9 for Eric Lokshan, the German player. Political science student. He says he won't be nervous about playing in front of the cameras, and a big slick here for David Boss.
I think it was kind of surprising that Eric didn't go for the 3-bet there, maybe thinking, well, the other guy just playing two consecutive hands early on in the piece, and I've got an ace in position, but he chose to just let him get on with it. David Boss, however, has gone for the 3-bet quite naturally. I mean, he's got a big hand, ace king offsuit. Very, very big hand in this situation. We're starting with 100 grand in chips, playing 1,000, 2,000 blinds. You're never, ever going to pass ace king in this format, I think.
No surprise he got that through, and he'll feel better having taken down his first pot of this second heat. Remember, they're playing just for one place, one seat only available here in the final, which has a $20,000 first prize. Top 4 get paid in that. They're all free-rolling to a degree because they've all qualified for this tournament. No one's paid any buy-in.
2,000 to call. Seat 6 folds. Seat 1 folds.
Noble gets rid, not been in a hand yet. Ace-Queen, Boss will not be getting rid.
Yeah, and of course he just 3-bet and won the last pot with Ace-King, but the other players didn't see that he had Ace-King. So now he's straight back involved with the Ace-Queen. Maybe they'll think he's getting a bit busy. Why is he getting involved early? Is he making some moves? And if I woke up with a hand like Ace-10 in the blinds, I might be inclined to 3-bet, not give him the benefit of the doubt. It is early in the piece, though.
4 raises.
Certainly prefer raising to just calling here. Calling, I think, would be a horrible mistake. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of those kind of weak mistakes from these guys today. I think this is an aggressive bunch of young players. And Grigori does decide to go for the 3-bet. Quite naturally, I think. We can see that he's totally dominated, but I don't think this is a mistake.
Well, suddenly, Tirok's Ace-6 shrinks up considerably.
Yeah, Tirok might have been thinking himself, I'm going to 3-bet if this guy raises, I'm going to come out with a 3-bet here. Now I'm thinking that possibly here David Boss is aware of what his table image is with these other players, and that they think that he's a bit of a move maker who's aggressive and always at it, and they could be 3-betting him a little light.
Seat 2 calls.
Well, he's made it up.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting situation, because if he does go for the 4-bet there and comes back over the top, and there's a massive flop, if he does come back over the top there, what kind of hand is he going to get action from? Obviously, hands like Ace-10 and Ace-Jack are just going to fold pre-flop if he 4-bets, so he decides, I've got position, I'm going to call, I'm going to take a flop. He now thinks this is an enormous flop. He's flopped top pair, a good kicker. No one's got Ace-King in this hand, you would think. So he thinks his kicker is good, and he also has a straight draw just in case. So he thinks he's a million miles in front. When he checked behind, he's checking to try and induce bluffs from his opponent. As it happens, his opponent has flopped 2 pair and is in the driving seat in the hand.
Yeah, both players were trapping after the flop. The 4 diamonds doesn't change anything on the turn.
And Grigori's now led on the turn. If I was David, I would think, well, isn't this all going swimmingly well? I've managed to induce a bluff out of him. I'm just going to call, I'm going to let him bluff again. That's what I'd be thinking. And that Jack's such a lovely card, because now you're thinking, oh, this is great, I've got 2 pair. If he did have Ace-10, then I've just counterfeited him. And that's exactly what has happened.
Yeah, that's desperate for Hamadul in that card. It really is.
Yeah, and there's a little movement of the mouth there, as if to say, that was a bit annoying. We're probably going to split it now if he's got sort of Ace-8, Ace-7, something like that. That's pretty annoying. Actually, as it happens, it's worse than that, sir.
And he's about to put some more chips into the middle, and we know that Boss is not going anywhere.
Yeah, well, he thought about it. He thought, should I bet to try and get him off a split pot? If he's got a hand like Ace-8, Ace-9, I could bet he could fold instead of splitting it. And then he thought, well, actually, does he really have that kind of hand very often? I 3-bet pre-flop and he called in position. Is he really going to have that kind of hand? The chances are he's got an under pair to the 10, or he's got a hand like Ace-Queen, or maybe the same Ace-10. I don't know. I'm finding it hard if I'm Grigori to really put David on a hand here. Pre-flop, I'd have said there was a really good chance he had a pocket pair rather than a hand like Ace-Queen or Ace-King. If he had a hand like if he had specifically Ace-King, I think he would have 4-bet pre-flop. I think the only hand that he can call pre-flop in that situation that contains an ace is probably Ace-Queen.
Yeah, so the early chip lead for David Boss after that really handy card came down on the river to counterfeit his opponent's 2 pair.
I am coach on PokerStrategy.com, and they were organizing the free roll, so I take part of it, and yeah, I want to see it. Being a coach, I like to transfer my knowledge to other people, and beside that, I like to produce videos and to educate the other players. Yeah, it's lots of fun. I don't think that I have a disadvantage that other players see me playing, because I like to vary my game. The strategy for this kind of tournament is to be very aggressive. I mean, there's a very aggressive structure. Don't be passive and too tight, and just collect the chips if you can. I'm not nervous playing on TV, but it's still the first time for me, so it's something different, but I like it, I think. Winning this event would mean that it's my first live event win, and I mean, the money is nice too, so yeah.
Well, let's have a look at the early standings then, and that big hand that Boss took down. He's got 145,000 now. Tirok has more than he started with. Kamadunan is the short stack. Can't see anyone being blinded out on this table now. It looks like they've all got some play.
Yeah, they've come here to play, haven't they? I don't think they're going to be messing around.
2,000 to call.
First time we've seen Callum Noble pick up a hand. Pocket sevens.
Yeah, still on the 1,000, 2,000 level. 5,000 would be a raise that most people would make.
Seat 1 raises to 4,000.
And he's gone for 4, which that shows me that he's probably a young internet-style player. I think the people that make it 6 generally tend to be perhaps the older players, the more sort of old-school live players. And David Boss, we just saw him win that big pot, and now he's found the boots, the bootlaces. He's got the aces. He's gone for the re-raise. If you were Callum Noble, you might think this guy's getting a bit busy. He's getting involved. Callum Noble's made, I think, a really good fold there. He's raised under the gun, which shows a lot of strength. He's immediately been 3-bet by a guy who's got the rest of the table behind him. But on the other hand, you could look at it and say, well, I've got a good hand, 2 sevens. I could peel, I could try and take a flop, see if I can make a set. This is bad, lazy thinking in this game. You've only got 100,000 chips. I think he's made a brilliant fold there.
Yeah, later in the tournament, he would have to have played them, but at this stage, he can let them go. That'll do massive damage to his stack.
I think that's a really good sign there from Callum. I think a lot of players that we're seeing in this kind of format would say to themselves, well, you know, it's a bit nitty to fold a pair of sevens. Let me at least see a flop try and hit something. And I think you haven't got enough chips to do that. The implied odds are not there because the stacks are not big enough. I think it's a great fold. I'm really impressed by that.
Here comes Boss again. It's got a suited ace this time. Calls the raise.
Yeah, Eric, who's known to be an aggressive player, has raised. I don't really like David's call. I don't think it's a profitable call out of the small blind.
10.
I think it's fine for Manic Looser to call. He has a high implied odds hand. He's basically playing, you know, he's going to flop a set or he's going to take no more action in the hand, and he's getting such a good price there in a 3-way pot. He's closing the action. Love that, no problem at all with that. Don't really like David's play pre-flop though, because A, he's not closing the action. B, if you're up against an aggressive player like Eric Lotion, why don't you 3-bet him if you think you've got the best hand? Well, calling to play ace-6 out of position, I don't like that. And then leading on this flop, I don't know, what are you trying to represent here?
Well, Lotion, of course, has flopped the straight. Massive flop for him. Boss does have outs here. The Queen, of course, would make him a better straight.
He's now picked up the flush draw, so he's got a gut shot for the straight. He's got a flush draw. He's got an overcard to the board. This is pretty much as good as it gets with this hand, really.
And he's still a 25% dog.
I think he should bet about 13,000, really.
He's having a think about the specific amount. 33,000 in the middle here.
Looks like he's reaching for 19.
See, 2 bets, 20,000.
20 he's gone for. The problem is now, you start with 100, you're going to have ended up putting 30% of a starting stack into this pot, and we haven't even got to the river yet.
Is Lotion even mildly concerned that the board's paired on the turn?
Well, he might not be too happy about it. There's also a flush draw there, and things could get worse on the river, but at the end of the day, you're in a tournament where you start with 100,000 chips. You're in a pot that's got 50-odd thousand in it, and you flopped a straight. There's no way you're going to do anything other than put your money in.
Here's another 10.
That's actually a really, really, really horrible card for Eric Lotion. I think there were quite a lot of jacks in David's range, and he could rightly think that he's up against a full house. It's been checked to him. He's just going to check behind, and he's going to win himself a decent pot. He'd love to value bet the river, but what's he going to get called by?
It's such a scary board for a guy sitting there with a straight, isn't it?
Well, I mean, what can you get called by? I mean, if the guy's got a pocket pair, you're losing to a full house. If the guy's got a king or a jack, you're losing to a full house. Is the guy really going to call you with ace high very often? You just must check behind, I think.
He's trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together here. Surely the pot's big enough for him to just check and have a look, and it'll be good news when he does see Boss's cards.
Literally, ace high is the only hand that you can be called by, that you want to be called by, and there isn't a hand that you can make lay down that you want to lay down.
Well, he has just checked it. And, there's the smile that tells you he knows his straight is good. Almost an embarrassed smile, but shouldn't be. So Boss loses a few of those chips that he won in the earlier hand. Let's have a quick check on how that hand has affected the current leaderboard. Still early days, of course. Loshan, Boss and Tirok all have more than they started with.
There has never been a better time to enter poker heaven. We've cash games and tournaments 24 hours a day with amazing new promotions every month. All bundled with our award-winning customer service and unique personalised player zone. And it's not just online. Play for the chance to qualify to major European tournaments or even the opportunity to play on TV. PokerHeaven.com. More than just poker.
Welcome back to London, where you're watching Heat 2 of the PokerStrategy TV World Championship. Still 6-player standing here, and the blinds remain 1 and 2,000 for the time being, but not for too much longer. Rag ace for Kamidulin.
Raises to 4,000.
Yeah, and this 1,000, 2,000 level is really the only time where I could excuse the players in any way for just kind of splashing around a little bit. Once you get even as much as the 2,000, 4,000 level, every chip becomes critical, and you could argue that you really can't even afford to waste. Even 3,000 or 4,000 here early on can be expensive later.
8.
If you have a raggy ace in late position, you can raise, but the thing is, when you do start losing 11,000, 12,000 on these hands, it's a real massive part of your stack.
Well, Boss clearly likes to play hands. He's hit again here. Now he's top pair with his kings. He called the initial raise from Kamidulin.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would say, well, you've got a king, it's an above average hand, you're already in the blinds. I don't really mind it, but the downside is you're playing a hand out of position where you don't really know where you are when you hit, and
well, he's got flush possibilities and a straight draw as well now. That was a strange call, though. Boss led out on the flop.
Yeah, he probably thought, well, why would David be leading to me if he had a king? Maybe suspected him of catching a pair lower than a king. Maybe thinks he's got an 8 or a 6 in his hand and thought, well, I've got 2 ways of winning the pot. I could hit my ace, or perhaps I could bluff on later streets.
Well, it's a semi-bluff here from Kamadulin, but it's not going to work because Boss is raising him.
Yeah, he's decided to check raise on the turn, which is interesting actually because it is very draw heavy now. So obviously he thinks there's a high chance that he's got either nothing because he raised pre-flop and just c-bet the flop. And if you do float someone on the flop, then you should do something on the turn. He didn't float here, as we can see. He had a hand, but he's chosen to come out blasting on the turn and just drive out any draws. It's a slightly unusual line, I would say, by David Boss here.
We'll see those percentages there. Kamadoulis would need to hit either a club, an ace, or a 7. So that's why his percentage is as high as that. He's got lots of outs, but this is a big bet to call.
Don't you think this is a slightly unusual way to play, though, Trevor, for David? I mean, he called a raise pre-flop with a king in his hand and flopped a king. It would be quite natural to check to the raiser, wouldn't it, and let him take lead in the betting, and you just call along with your king, giving a lot of deception. To lead into the raiser, your only motive for that is to say, well, actually, I want to get a lot of money into this pot. I'm leading to really build a pot. Maybe the guy will try and raise me on the flop, and I'll be happy to get it in. I'm guessing that's what he was thinking here. That when he sees the flop, King 8-6, he's jumping for joy.
2 calls.
So he went all in.
Wow. And an immediate call. Boss just is utterly convinced his opponent's drawing. Well, he's right, but he's got a few cards to dodge here.
Yeah, he's played this one super aggressive, hasn't he, really, David Boss? I mean, no thought in his mind that the kicker might be in trouble or that there's already a flush and a straight on the table. Just saying to himself, do you know what? It's hard to hit top pair, and I'm going to go with it.
So 7, ace or club required on the river for Kamadulin, and he's hit it. He's flushed on the end, and that is a sickener for Boss. And a kind of smile from the Russian. And that's taken so much wind out of Boss's sails. These guys don't like putting hands down, do they?
Grigori apologised there for hitting it. I don't think I'd have been sorry. As we can see, he was behind in the hand with no pair, but he had 35% equity. And he might not have had a lot of fold equity when he went all in over the top of a check raise on the turn, but he felt like he had enough equity in his hand and he was just going to go for it.
No.
So he now has a very big stack and Boss is playing catch-up. Made such a good start, didn't he, Boss? But it's all turned round and he's only got 25,000 left, so...
He was pretty unlucky in that hand, but on the other hand, you might say, well, you don't really need to get too involved. You're only playing 1,000, 2,000 blinds. Should you be playing a 200-grand pot with just top pair dodgy kicker? I don't know.
I suppose in some ways you give him credit for his read, because he was utterly convinced his opponent was drawing, and he was right as far as that's concerned.
I don't want to overly criticise him. He played a very strong line with the hand, and he was, as you say, utterly convinced he was winning there, and he was 100% spot on.
Well, the blinds are up to 2,000 and 4,000 now then. Is Jack 8 enough? He's only got,
I think
6 big blinds?
It is enough. I mean, you're going to get called a lot of the time. But you can still do damage to your opponent. 25,000 is a quarter of a starting stack. They're not going to call you with 9-3 offsuit. I mean, imagine if you've got, Queen 3, Queen Deuce. You might still lay those ones down, and a lot of the time, if you do get called, you're still going to be 30%, 35% there. So he can add 6,000 to his stack. The 2 that he would be losing from the big blind and the from the small blind, and the 4 from the big blind. That's pretty significant. 25% addition to his stack.
Yep, and there were no callers, so panic over for the moment for Boss, and the bullets are out again. This time Eric Lotion has them. We said before this heat that he certainly wasn't going to be nervous about playing in front of the cameras, even though it was his first time on television, as it is for pretty much all these players.
Yeah, he took his time over deciding how much to raise and then went for 10. A lot of the players go for min raises in order to try and A, minimise their losses when they have to lay down to a 3-bet, and B, induce action when they've got a big hand. He didn't go for that. But he does show the aces, so I just wanted to make everyone well aware that he only plays with a very big hand.
Well, working for PokerStrategy helped me a lot as a player, because when I started playing poker, I had no idea what to do. And then I learned the game. And afterwards, when I started working for the whole company, that got me more into the whole thing. I'm in the news department translating all the very important news to German language. So I had the chance to learn more and learn better than otherwise. You're not only getting to know about who's winning any tournament, who won there, who won this tournament, because you already know. You see the negative side too, and you think about what it means to be a poker pro. I'm really excited to get to know the feeling, what it feels like to be on the other side, and I think it's going to be a great experience. I think winning the whole tournament would be a special thing for me, because I'm a staff member and I'm not a professional player. Yeah, there was this free roll I qualified for, and the winner would get this seat for this event. And I started playing the free roll at, I don't know what time it was, about 6 o'clock in the evening. But then like half an hour later, my girlfriend called me. I had to get her from work and drive her home. So I interrupted my game, and I got this special software on my iPhone. So I started playing while waiting for her outside the office and at the gas station and at red traffic lights and all that. And finally, I don't know how I did it, but I won the free roll and got my ticket for London. My heat is going to be very tough, because there will be 2 PokerStrategy coaches and 1 professional player. Manik Löser will be in it, and 2 other Russian guys, which are always dangerous, I think. They all got quality, they all know what to do, they all know how to play, and it's going to be really tough. I'm going into this tournament with a very aggressive game plan. I want to be aggressive right from the start and not let anyone show me what he does. I want to show the other people what I can, and I want to win.
What's your view, Neil, about showing hands when you don't have to? Are you a fan of it or not?
Well, I think actually, if I never showed any hands the whole time I've ever been playing poker, it would be better for me. But I'm a little bit of a hand shower, actually. I don't mind. If I'm in a cash game and maybe I'm playing with a guy who's a recreational businessman or whatever, and I raise with a good hand and he makes a fold, I want to show him so that he feels good about himself, he's happy with life, he wants to carry on playing. If I'm playing against a guy who's likely to go on tilt, and I might want to needle him, and I do a bluff, I might want to show him a bad hand so that he might lose all his money to me. In this kind of situation, where there's a lot of professionals, I don't think it's at all necessary. If I'm playing against professionals, I don't really want to give them any extra information, there's no point.
Kamadulin has raised it up with an ace, but Tirok has a bigger one.
5 raises to 25,000 total, 6 folds.
25,000 is the raise. There's nowhere really for Kamadulin to go here.
Yeah, it's a fairly chunky old re-raise. I mean, you know, if you wanted to induce somebody to come back over the top, you might go just a small bit smaller, maybe 22, 23,000. Just give them a little bit more wiggle room. But on the other hand, if you're Thomas Tirok, you're pretty happy to get it in there. You've got ace-king suited. If they find a bigger hand than that, good luck to them.
Smile from Thomas Tirok. He says if he wins this event, he plans to spend the money on champagne. Well, he's got a fair way to go, but he does have more chips than he started with, 110,000. Kamadulin still leads the way. Just reminds me of that great George Best quote about what he spent his money on, and he said, I spent it all on wine and women, the rest I just squandered. Ace-10 for Boss, 7-5, not going to play here. Boss has picked up a few hands, hasn't he?
Yeah, although ace-10 is not one that you're totally in love with in this situation. He just he chose to limp in, did he, with this ace-10? That's unusual, really. You're not going to see too... I suspect there won't be a lot of limping going on generally throughout this heat. We have seen him be prepared to play hands, though. The thing that got him into trouble was calling with an ace-6 out of position.
Just wonder if he's almost trying to get someone coming over the top, and he's going to shove with his stack. But if he does that, he's going to be in trouble. Because Lushan's got the ace-jack.
I think you're exactly right. I think that is what's happening here. He figures that if he shoves with his kind of stack, he's only going to get action from a hand that's beating him. He's going to scare off a lot of bad hands. Whereas if he limps, someone might raise him with a hand as weak as ace-8 or ace-7. He doesn't mind if someone shoves with a hand like 2-4s or 2-5s because he needs a flip to try and get back into it. Whereas if he just went all in, those kind of hands are just going to fold.
Well, if Lushan is suspicious, it's not really going to matter because I don't think he's got enough chips, Boss, to scare him off. He has made the call.
I think it's okay the way he's played it there, really, David Boss. I think you're exactly right. That's what he did intend for that to happen, and he thought ace-10 is a bit too good to fold in this situation. I haven't got too many chips left, only about 10 big blinds, but I don't really want to shove it all in and scare off all the worst hands than ace-10.
Well, he's going to have to put a bad beat on his fellow countryman if he's going to stay alive in this tournament. He's dominated as we stand, ace-10 against ace-jack. 5 cards to come, though.
6, 4, 4.
Well, a 6 would chop it.
Yeah, and picked up some extra outs with the paired board for sure.
10, of course, would win it for him. So now he needs a deuce or a 6 for the chop, a 10 for the win.
You're almost ahead, it feels like.
Well, at least he's still laughing, even though he's still a big underdog. Here's a river. And unfortunately, that's no good.
Okay.
He played that early hand, didn't he, David? He looks fairly philosophical there. Lost all those chips with the ace-6 of clubs. After that, he was always on the back foot.
So, just 5 players remain. Join us again in a moment.
New to poker and not sure where to start? Ever wished you could test your knowledge for money? Sign up to PokerFree50.com and answer our simple quiz correctly, and we'll give you $50 to play with, free. PokerFree50.com.
Welcome back to the PokerStrategy.com TV World Championship. We are down to just 5, and of course, Eric, you are our new chip leader. How has the experience been for you so far?
Very good. It's very nice to play here. I'm obviously dominating the whole table, and yeah, it's a piece of cake so far.
And now David's gone. Who's your next victim going to be?
I don't know yet. I'm just picking on one and trying to do my best.
All right, well, best of luck to everybody. It's back to the commentary.
Thanks very much, Laura. Cards in the air then for the remaining fantastic 5 here in Heat 2. Not seen Callum Noble move too many chips so far, but nothing wrong with being tight early.
Sit 4 folds.
Starting hand values, of course, change a little bit now that
6 folds.
the field has thinned.
2,000 more.
Hello.
Sit 1 raises.
A move.
9,000 total.
Yeah, I mean, Callum hasn't really... he's only actually played one hand as far as I know, and he probably has a good table image and thinks he wants to exploit that. It's been folded round to him. He might as well just nick a blind and stay in the game. He's a bit unlucky, really, that Manic Loose has picked up a pretty decent hand, really, blind on blind, and has gone for the 3-bet in position with the King 10, picked up the pot.
So, these chips don't come easy, do they? Saw the potential there, Callum Noble, to make a little move, but it was thrust back at him. Eric Lushan doing quite well so far.
4,000.
And pocket 10s here for Kamadulian. 4,000 to call, but surely he'll be bumping it up here.
Yeah, probably just 9, I guess, would be the raise, maybe 8, 9, 10.
Seat 4 raises to 8,000 total.
It's gone for 8,000. Surprised it took so long thinking about how much to do when you're just going to do a min-raise every time. That's so annoying. I hate it when people do that.
Tirok, suited ace. And he's going to re-raise it.
Seat 5 raises to 21,000.
Yeah, and this looks like a very strong move, doesn't it? Somebody's opened and you go with the 3-bet. You know that Grigori's an aggressive player who is liable to take off. So it seems like a good spot to 3-bet. Manic Looser, though, has found a very big hand in the ace-king of diamonds. His only question now is, how much do I raise in order that I might get action? He thinks, well, this Grigori's opening all the time, discounting him from the thing, probably doesn't have a hand. He's thinking, well, Thomas Tirok knows that, he might not have a hand. This hand is easily way above both of the ranges of the other two opponents. He's wondering if he has enough chips to make a smaller raise that might induce someone to go all in with a hand like ace-queen. He obviously decided he didn't really have enough to do that, and he's just decided that, there isn't much wiggle room to do anything other than just shove the whole lot in.
Well, we know that Tirok can't play, but what is Hamadulin thinking here, Neil, with the 10s in his hand?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the first thing that Grigori's got to think is that his table image is of an aggressive, loose player, and therefore people will make moves on him. He might think to himself, well, this Thomas Tirok could easily be making a move on my raise without much of a hand. At the end of the day, though, you've raised, you've been re-raised, and a third guy's gone all in. Pair of 10s doesn't feel like such a big hand now.
Started all out in 2007. I did an internship in Ireland, Dublin, for an accounting company. I did study economics and business administrations, and a friend of mine just asked me if I'm into poker, and I said, no, I have no idea about this game, I'm not gambling, And then I somehow logged in, and then kind of realized that it is really a strategy game, and that kind of it interested me in the first part. So I used all my free time in Dublin, while not working or partying, for reading articles back then. And I remember one of my first question was, how do I become silver member? Because there were some silver articles I wanted to read. So that was when I started out. I had one mentor, Ash05 in the forums. Started playing sit and goes from the beginning. And then pretty soon, after some months of really intense studying, I decided it would be a cool idea, besides studying, playing some fun card game and making more money. So that's how I got started. I don't feel the need to make videos in order to get fame or to get known, or to tell everybody how good I am, because everybody knows we are not as good as we think we are. But it's fun. First of all, it's a good thing to help other people improve their game, and also you get to know many people. So throughout the last years, especially as a coach, I got to know many really great guys. Why I enjoy being here is not necessarily the money, it's not necessarily party action. Although London is great for partying. It's basically, I have many friends in London, so this is a good chance for me meeting them. If you win the whole thing, you get 20k. But we already have some plans. In case I win, I already talked to Johannes yesterday. We're probably gonna make a huge party in Gibraltar. So most of the money will be spent anyway. Obviously, I'm not coming here to lose. I'm coming here to try to play as well as I can and adapt as fast as I can. I think that's what it comes down to. Because in the end, all of those players know what they're doing. They know the rules, they know the game. So the one who adapts faster would probably have a slight edge. And then, obviously, we all know the biggest edge you can get is 60-40, and then it's about flipping.
Blinds 3 and 6,000 now. So the short stacks don't have a lot of play, to say the least.
Yeah, this is the stage of the tournament where I think 3-bet shoving can really gain you some chips. People still open light. They'll be opening to 12 and 13,000. And if you go all in, you can pick up, 3 and 6 and 12 is 21,000. If you got 50 or 60, that's an enormous addition to your stack. So it's such a good time to be identifying someone that opens a lot, possibly with a weak hand, and just shove over the top of them and cross your fingers and hope they fold. As it happens, Callum Noble found a real hand there, raised and took down the blinds.
And as you say, significant addition to his stack. Not played too many pots so far today, Noble.
Yeah, if I was looking to 3-bet shove, I think the two people that can benefit from my idea of what to do would be Manik Lousa and Eric Loshen, because I think that Gregory and Thomas are perhaps likely to open a bit weaker, and you can probably pick them off.
Anyway, Lousa's got ace-queen, big chick, as they say, and he's suited as well.
Yeah, and the thing that happens here is that although he's got quite a decent stack, Manik Lousa, we start to think about this concept of effective stacks. If he gets raised by someone like, for example, Callum Noble, although he's got a big stack himself, Callum doesn't really have that much of a big stack, and he might feel, well, I've got to put it in because it's not going to knock me out, it's not going to threaten me too much. And here we are. Callum actually has a big hand in the pair of kings. He's doing that thing that we've seen a few times in this series where he has to think to himself, can I make a smaller raise and induce someone to make a mistake against me, or do I have to just put it all in? And he might decide to just call for that reason. It's such a big hand.
6-1 call.
Yeah, it's such a big hand that he doesn't want... He wants action. He wants the full double up. If he makes the small re-raise, he loses so many hands that he wants to keep in. Hands like 7s, 8s, 9s, may be good enough to fold if he does the small re-raise.
I was going to ask you if he could possibly fold should an ace come up, but of course now he's hit a set, it's irrelevant. But had an ace come up there, would he have considered
I think
folding?
he would have had to fold because he doesn't have many aces in his range when he just flat calls there, and it's hard for him to credibly represent an ace on the flop, if he just shoves it in first to speak there after the flop. I think if he had an ace, he's got enough chips to still fight on. If it had come an ace, he would check fold would be the thing. Obviously, having played it kind of weak pre-flop to sell the idea of weakness, he must check this flop, hope that Manik bets, which Manik should naturally do as a C-bet, make it sort of 12,000 or something. I would just call again, I think, if I was, having hit the flop in such a big way, flopping top set.
13,000.
Yeah, the bet's 13,000, so call again looks like the thing for me.
Well, it's a good poker face. He's
well, there's no flush draw on, so he's really got nothing to worry about, has he?
6-1 call.
making it look as though, well, okay,
I'm loving the way Callum's playing this hand. The thing is now, if he checks, so often Manik Lousa's just going to check behind. This is the thing about being out of position, which means that you're giving him another free card, and then you have to check again on the river and just pray that he finds a bet. I might make a weak lead here if I was Callum Noble. Maybe bet like 15,000. Try and induce the shove.
Well, he has checked it into Lousa, who has ace high.
I mean, really, the only way you're going to get money out of Lousa now is if you bet you might get money out of Lousa if he's got 10s or jacks or 8s. If you check, you get money out of Lousa if he's got ace high and he bluffs. So you have to decide which of those two things is more likely. Does he have an ace high and he finds it in him to bluff, or does he have a pair and he finds it in him to call when I make a small bet? And he obviously decided, well, Lousa's the kind of guy that's never got anything, I might as well check and let him bluff.
Well, he's still thinking about whether to put a second bluff out there. In the end, he taps the table. An ace would have been really bad news for him.
It certainly would have been. Well, Callum Noble finds another check because he knows now that basically Lousa really hardly ever has anything in this situation, and therefore he might as well let him bluff.
Well, it went check on the end, so Noble will take down the pot.
And you might think, well, Noble, he's got two kings, he's flopped a king. In this format, shouldn't that just be a double up? I think he did really well to squeeze that many chips out of it. He was up against ace high, and I love the way he played that hand.
Well, it's the first big pot for him in this heat, and it's improved his position significantly. Looks to have a pretty good temperament, Callum Noble.
Yeah, and when I say I love the way he played that hand, I don't think anyone made any mistakes, actually. It was a pretty... obviously, it's pretty easy to play when you've got two kings and you flop a king, but I think both players played good poker there.
Queen 10 for Grigory Kemadulin.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying, that Grigori is a player that's going to open light, and people like Thomas T. Rock, and, I think the shove over the top is definitely the way forward here, and I think that's what he's doing. But he's such a target for this kind of play, really, Grigori, and he should perhaps be a bit more wise to that. We can see here that if Thomas hadn't have done it, Callum Noble would have done it with the ace-10, and... basically, I think Grigori needs a new game plan. He's not playing against a bunch of mugs here. These people know how to play poker, and if he thinks he's just going to raise every pot and they're just going to lay down, I think he needs a new plan.
Well, he's asked for a count here, Noble.
Well, he knows. It's one of those situations. Thomas T. Rock is definitely an aggro kind of guy that can be moving all in. He's got the perfect kind of 3-bet shove stack. And he needed to get it in, and Callum Noble definitely knows that. You can see how little respect Callum Noble has for Grigori's opening raise there by the fact that he's just kind of totally disregarded him in the pot. He just said, well, there's going to be dead money in the pot because Grigori's going to fold, and I'm just going to be up against this guy who's got a desperation shoving stack. Ace-10 could be good here.
Well, he's in a race, so he won't be totally disheartened by that.
Well, it's a
slight favourite.
It's a great spot for him, isn't it? He's put his money in a race and getting odds.
Needs to improve, though. Straightening possibilities now as well.
Yeah, if the board pairs up here, it's not going to be too good for Thomas T-Rock's chances of winning the pot.
So ace or a 10, a queen for the straight.
Yeah, queen of spades. I'll take that.
And then deuce of spades on the river.
Being played in a really good spirit, this heat. Oh, there's the straight.
There it is. They all talked about the queen, and in it came.
So no way out, I'm afraid, now for T-Rock.
One more card.
No, you only get 5 up there. So it's well played to Callum Noble, and we have another casualty. Thomas T-Rock is gone in 5th, and we're down to 4. Let's have a quick look at the current leaderboard then. Noble now has 226,000. He's clear of Lotion in 2nd.
There has never been a better time to enter Poker Heaven. We've cash games and tournaments 24 hours a day with amazing new promotions every month. All bundled with our award-winning customer service and unique personalised player zone. And it's not just online. Play for the chance to qualify to major European tournaments or even the opportunity to play on TV. PokerHeaven.com. More than just poker.
He was all on his own at this end of the table. Eric Lotion.
6,000 to call.
Hard to call from here, though, Neil, I think, isn't it? Any one of these 4 could win it.
Yeah, I think that this is a strong heat. You know, they're all decent players. I've loved the way that Callum Noble's played so far. I think in one or two tricky spots, he's come up with the right decision. Folded those 2 sevens earlier when he could have put a lot more money in, and stuck it in with the ace-10 quite bravely, really. A lot of people would have folded that one. So I think he'll go well in the heat. The one that I think is possibly a slight weakling, and I'm not saying he's a weak player, but I think Grigori may have slightly underestimated his opponents and thinks he's come here to run over them. I don't think these guys are going to be run over.
Well, confirmation that Noble continues to lead the way.
10,000 to play.
Lines 5 and 10, of course. And they're only going to go one way, and that's up, so no way these players can hang around on a 4-handed table. You're in the blinds half the time.
We didn't see what the hand was, but it's interesting there that Grigori folded from the button 3, effectively 3-handed there. Maybe a sign that he realises that if he keeps opening light, they're just going to shove over the top of him. It's left Eric Lotion with a king, heads up, blind on blind. Definitely a good hand, above average. But Callum Noble's found a real hand, ace-10. So he should probably 3-bet from here. It looks like he's chosen to just call with position. I think I prefer the 3-bet because what are you really looking to hit with the ace-10 here? If you do flop an ace, you're not really going to get much action off the other guy. It's unlikely he's ever going to have an ace there. and if you miss, you're just going to be faced with calling a lot of bets with ace high, because you don't have momentum in the pot. The other guys are going to lead into you so many times, and you're either going to have to just raise with ace high or just keep calling with ace high. As it happens, he's been out flopped now, so he's probably just going to give up here, or he might call one time and give up on the turn.
I was going to say, it's all very well having position, but when you miss the flop and a guy's betting into you, it becomes difficult. He has called.
Well, calling here is a pure float, and it does put pressure on the other guy, but, you know, what are you repping when you call? Have you really got a king? It's not much you can have here, is it, to be calling? You're repping that you started with a pocket pair, maybe? Why didn't you re-raise with a pocket pair? Maybe you're repping that you've got a king. OK, fair enough. I don't really see anything else that you're repping here by calling.
Just wonder if Noble can find a decent bet here.
Obviously a 4 or a 3 you could be repping. But,
yeah, whether he would have taken his opponent off, but he checked it.
The 3 is probably on the turn. It's probably a bad card, really, for Noble to carry on this pretense that he's got something here. And the 7 doesn't make it any easier either. So I'm pretty sure Lotion's going to bet here and Noble's going to fold. I think 32,000 should be enough to win it.
Remember, he called the bet off the flop, Noble, and it's gone check-check since then.
Is it 6 checks?
Well, it did go check-check in the end. Noble thought there was a chance his ace-high might be good. Obviously, it's not.
Yeah, Lotion's like looking a bit rueful there, as if to say, I wasn't quite sure what to do at the end there. Maybe I should have bet. I think when he checked, he's thinking, well, if I bet and I get raised, then it's messy. If I check and he bets, I can just call him, and I use my hand as a bluff catcher.
Yeah, he'll be happy enough to take that down.
Noble obviously chose not to bluff on the end because he has showdown value. He thinks he doesn't need to bluff because ace high could be good.
And he hasn't left that many chips behind there. King 4 this time. He does have the button.
Yeah, and with 5, 10 blinds, it would be quite natural just to make it 20, 21, 22 off the button. With any 2 cards, really, and King 4 marginally above average.
This one is all in.
Oh, he's gone all in. OK.
What do you make of that play? He's got 200,000 plus chips.
No, he's done it. Again, it's because the stacks of the other players we're talking about. He's at 20 big blinds. I think it's absolutely fine, actually. I think it's better than raising with the intention of folding. If you have 20 big blinds and you start putting in 20, 25,000 and then laying down for a re-raise, I think that's actually a really bad thing to do. So, I think it's absolutely fine moving all in. I'm not quite sure of the stacks of the other 2 players, whether they both have more than 20 big blinds. It doesn't look like they do. So, maybe only one of the 2 was threatening him for his full stack anyway.
Well, no takers then for Noble's all-in, and he suddenly started to find some real aggression. He's won a few of those chips back that he lost in the previous hand. He's a live contender here.
I'm really excited to play the event today. It'll be the first time getting a chance to be on a TV event. It's 6 max, which I like. And also, of course, there's a chance of winning $20,000, so I'm quite happy with that. I don't actually know any of the players myself today. I haven't met them before, but they all seem pretty sharky, to be honest. My strategy to play today, I think in the early stages, of course, we've got about 50 BBs. Play a little bit looser than normal, but try and sort of find out what people are like, what their tendencies are, and then adjust accordingly, really. In regards to the structure, it's nice to have like a big stack. Like you get 100,000 chips, don't you? But it does seem a little shallow in regards to the starting stack and things like that. But it'll make things interesting, make some fast-paced poker. The title would be really nice to have.
So cards in the air again here in London. This is Heat 2 of the PokerStrategy TV World Championship. Blinds 5 and 10 still. Well, that's enough for at least 3 of these players. Kamadulin just gives us a sense, Neil, he's waiting for his moment. He was very active early, wasn't he?
Grigori there definitely, I think, prior to the hand being dealt, was thinking, if the first guy folds, I'm all in on the button here. And then he looked and he saw the 9 deuce and he thought, do you know what, I might just leave it one more.
20,000, 10,000 more too.
Raise here from Lotion with a 10 queen into Noble.
And Noble's got this tricky one because a king is above average, blind on blind. Lotion hasn't missed an opportunity to raise blind on blind, and Noble will be aware of that. So A, he could have the best hand, and B, he's got position and he's playing against an aggressive player. I'm surprised he's chosen to call, though. Again, I would have advocated the 3-bet shove there, really.
Well, 3 clubs on the board. Noble does have the 7 in his hand, but he's way behind the 2 pair.
Top 2 for Lotion and Noble with the flush draw. If Lotion makes a small bet here, Noble may decide to semi-bluff and go all in.
Well, if he does do that, he'll get called, won't he, in an instant by Lotion.
I couldn't put him off doing it. It looks like a reasonable thing to do in this situation. Obviously, it's not going to work because, well, he might hit the flush, but he's chosen to call. I'm not sure I'm in love with the way he's played this pot from the start, actually. I think if it had been me, I would have 3-bet pre, and maybe Lotion then... well, I think if you 3-bet shove pre, Lotion has to fold queen high and you win it.
Oh, Lotion will...
I think Lotion probably feels like his opponent never has an ace in this situation, and all it is an action-killing card for him. But he's got to bet to protect against the flush, so he's going to make a bet.
6-6, bet 45,000.
So another question asked of Noble, how long does he want to continue to try and chase a flush that might not even be good if he does hit it?
Yeah, and Lotion's bet 45,000. I don't think there's anything really that Callum Noble can do now. He had the option to raise all in on the flop. He didn't take it. He had the option to raise all in pre-flop. He didn't take it. He can't raise all in now because he doesn't have any fold equity. If he raises all in, he's getting called, you know, unless his opponent's got 7 deuce or something, he's getting called. So... Well, he's done it. He raised all in. He got snap called anyway. Obviously, the guy's got 2 pairs. He's going to snap call him. But yeah, I'm not very. I don't know. I'd like to know what Callum Noble was thinking in this hand. I think throughout the heat, he's thought really well, and his decision making's been great. Not quite sure what happened in this one.
So he needs a club or a jack. 27%. That's why Lotion is looking rather happier than his opponent.
Barry Mundy, he looks really upset about the whole thing, doesn't he? I don't know. Is he related to Callum Noble?
Distant relative, but that's only a possibility. Here's the river, and that is no help to the King 7, and I think Callum Noble will feel he played that rather poorly. He's played excellently so far, but he's come undone in that hand. Here's how we stand then. Lotion has roughly 2/3 of the chips in play, Noble down to just 37,000.
Fancy a game of poker but not sure where to start? Well, worry no more, as Poker Channel Europe have teamed up with the world's largest online poker education site, PokerStrategy.com, to give you the chance to learn and improve your game absolutely free. All you have to do is head over to PokerFree50.com today to gain free access to over 300 poker articles and 800 poker videos, and sign up to become part of one of the world's largest online poker forums. Now, once you've signed up, you'll be invited to take part in a poker quiz. Now, don't worry, you don't need any prior knowledge of the game. If you pass, we'll give you $50 to play in some of the world's largest online poker rooms, absolutely free.
Carrying on that education theme, there are free coaching sessions across a variety of poker rooms every day. And if that wasn't enough, we'll also give you free poker tools to analyse and improve your game. And being part of the PokerStrategy.com community means that you'll be able to make friends, send and receive advice, and talk to other passionate poker enthusiasts around the world 365 days a year. So, what are you waiting for? Head over to PokerStrategy.com today and sign up for an account. Claim your $50 free bankroll and become part of the most active poker community in town.
Lines are steep. 4 players left here in London. Just 1 place available in the grand final. Kamadoulin's hardly moved a chip in the last few minutes.
Well, yeah, he's been pretty card dead, to be fair,
Yeah.
but he was probably getting a bit sick of every time he raised, someone would shove on him. Now, Callum Noble got himself into a bit of a mess in that other hand, and now he's had to shove with the old 6-deuce. He's unlucky to be totally dominated, though. Both players in this hand were very short of chips, and Maniglosa, a lot of people might have just said, well, you know, Queen 6, and I'm not the aggressor, I want to be the aggressor, blah, blah. But he realised that basically Callum Noble could have any 2 cards. Queen 6 has got some equity against 2 random cards, and he's got a call.
So, deuce required for Noble. They both hit the 6, but the kicker of Losa won in front.
Jack.
Ace would split it.
Yeah,
King would split
Ace
it.
or a king, I think. Yeah. Or a jack.
There it is.
Ace, a king, or a jack, of course. A jack could have done it as well.
Yeah, but they're going to chop this up, and that's a stabbed execution for Callum Noble. Still down to a bowl of rice, but at least he's still in.
Yeah, you're pretty unlucky there, aren't you? You're pretty low in chips. You find a Queen 6, you manage to get in dominating against a 6-deuce, and you go and chop it.
I might be a little bit more experienced because I played a lot of live poker lately. I started like 2 years ago with smaller tournaments, like 1,000 buy-in or something, and then when I had success there, I played at the 10Ks as well and did pretty well in those. So, yeah. Yeah, as you said, it's a pretty fast structure. Like I think we're starting with 50 big blinds, so there's not that much room. I don't think it's that much of an advantage to know a lot of deep stack poker and all. But yeah, it's always an advantage to have live experience. That's better than just playing online. I moved to London for different reasons. Like here are a lot of airports, so because I was traveling a lot, that's way better here. And obviously the tax regulations and this stuff, I don't really believe in the home advantage here. I mean, I'm living pretty near the studio, so it's good to have breakfast at home and go there, but it's not big of an advantage. All the guys in the lobby just told me it's the toughest heat by far, but I know them from the online league, so I think Price T is pretty good, like the first UK Black member or something, and he has a lot of success in the SNGs, so he's probably really good, and some other guys as well. Like I played with them online, and they know what they're doing. Since the winner takes it all tournament, you gotta play aggressive, and yeah, it's pretty short. So build a stack early, and then yeah, try to win it all and run good. That's the plan. It would mean a lot to me to win it, because it's the first time this tournament will be played out, and yeah, it would be really nice to have that title. Yeah, as you can see, like the success in the EPTs and the WSOP and the stuff, like you can see that Germans are taking over right now. Like all the Germans are winning, so I hope I can join them.
Dealer printing the tickets again then here. Button is in front of the short stack, Callum Noble. Lots of paint for Eric Lotion, and lots of chips in front of him too.
Yeah, he's declared all in. I mean, obviously he's got a million zillion chips, but he's effectively saying to the other people, I'm setting you in. They've all got less than 20 big blinds, so it's pretty easy for him to say all in. He's got a big hand, King Queen, as it happens. I would expect him to be setting the other players in at will here, pretty much with any ace, lots of kings, obviously any pair, hands like Jack-10 suited, things like that. I think there's a big amount of his range he's going to be just going all in with. Doesn't want to give anyone a cheap double up, but wants to, you know, he's got the foot on their throat and he wants to keep it down.
Yep, and he'll add 15,000 to his stack there by taking down the blinds, and the button moves in front of Kemadulin now, who is very short. So is Callum Noble.
Yeah, any time that the two guys who are not in the blinds, when it's any of the three in the black shirts, has an opportunity to shove all in and be the first all in, they're going to do it. It doesn't really matter what hand they've got, they're going to do it.
Well, Lucer there
Yes, sit for folded.
with the King 9. Lotion has a suited ace against the short stack. He has made the call, he's in front.
Yeah, it was an easy call, very standard call for him. It's not going to cause him much pain if he's wrong. If he's right, he eliminates an opponent. He has some money invested in the pot. Easy call with an ace.
9 or King Loser needs to get him out of this jam. River to come. Lotion a big favourite to take out another player. And that's exactly what he's done. Ace high is good. And he is just running over the table at the moment. Eric Lotion, this 29-year-old German. We are down to just 3, and he is a very warm favourite with such a massive stack.
Welcome back to the PokerStrategy.com TV World Championship. We are down to 3. Callum, you've been getting a little bit lucky in the last few hands, and you were chip leader at one point. Can you talk us through what's happened from chip leader to now?
It looks like a little bit of a blowout, to be honest, but it's a really good spot to fake. It's the perfect turn barrel card, and I thought I'd put it in his eye, but he obviously just rolls over the nuts pretty much, so there's not a lot I could do.
Now, of course, we're looking at a huge chip leader over there. What's your strategy from now?
Just keep getting it in. Hope to keep getting lucky.
All right, well, I wish you some more luck. It is, of course, back to the action.
He's got that satisfied smile, hasn't he, Eric Lotion, that says, look how many chips I've got, and look how many you've got.
Well, also, he's, 29 years old. He's really the granddad of the table, isn't he? All that life experience he's had from being an old fella really helps.
He's got a kind of resigned air about his body language now, Noble.
Yeah, he didn't look too confident there, did he? I think if I'm shoving all in and praying that there's just a chance I get a fold, I might try and squeeze my cards and make it look like I've really found a good hand here.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered either way, because Kemadulin was calling all day with ace-10.
Yeah, ace-10 feels like aces here, doesn't it? That's a massive hand, really, in this situation. And it's important for both of them. I mean, obviously, Callum Noble's tournament life is at stake, but it's a pretty big chunk of Grigori's chips.
So Noble needing a jack now. The 4 won't help him anymore, because the 10's arrived for Kemadulin.
Yeah, needs a jack or runner, so it's not looking great. What a 3
in
now.
play.
Yeah,
yep.
Certainly opened up.
So jack or 3.
Doesn't look too optimistic, though, does it?
No, I think that hand that he misplayed, I think, has really slowed him down. The Queen knows no help on the end, and we have another casualty. Noble is out, started so strongly, it went wrong for him in that one big hand, and it leaves us heads up in Heat 2. And here's how we stand at the start of it. Lotion with a potentially dominating lead, but one double through, they'll be back all square again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I was Kamadulin and trying to do a deal, that's what I'd be saying.
I reckon you've done that before as well. But it is true. I mean, and it's not difficult to get a double through because we know that he's going to keep his hand on the throttle, Lotion.
But you always hear people say that, don't you? Like, if I win 2 pots now, I've won it.
Sit for Zalin.
But it is, the blinds are very big, and it is a bit wham bam, thank you ma'am now. Grigori there realising that if you just move all in, you're challenging the guy for half of his stack now. And he's not going to want to just do that with nothing.
Я выиграл квалификацию в 10 тысяч депозиторов фри-роллинг. Да, я достаточно давно на PokerStrategy зарегистрирован, то есть в русскоязычном сообществе порядка с самого основания, поэтому я давно общаюсь на форуме PokerStrategy, и у меня много друзей, знакомых. Это для меня стало бы очень большим успехом, потому что до этого я не играл в таких больших офлайн событиях, офлайн турнирах с такими большими призовыми деньгами.
Well, I think it's going to be adopting the same strategy throughout. Kamadulin, he's got to put pressure on the chip leader, otherwise he'll get blinded away to nothing. He'll have no fold equity, and he'll get looked up with any two.
He doesn't seem afraid to put it in, does he? But I do think, I was joking before about the ages of the players, but actually I think Eric Lotion is more experienced in these situations. I think he absolutely knows 100% the correct calling ranges, which hands are good hands to raise with, when he has no option but to call because of the chip stack sizes and whatever. And I don't think he's going to make too many mistakes in this.
We're going to see a flop here.
4,
7 deuce for the chip leader.
8. Actually, no.
First to bet, you would imagine.
Yeah, and Grigori limped the button here, which I don't actually mind in heads-up deep stack to be limping the button from time to time. He's not deep stacked here, though. I think you have to be a bit more positive, one way or the other. I think shove all in would have been a better play.
Well, Lotion has checked it. Can he find a bet this time? Looks like it.
6 for bet.
And that'll be the end of the hand.
15,000.
I mean, generally speaking, I would say min raise is a good thing to be doing on the button every single time. But I think with his stack, you can't min raise and fold, so shove all in is better.
Well, he needs the chips more than Lotion does. He's taken down a very small pot, but he's got plenty of work to do if he's going to overhaul this big lead that Lotion has.
I don't know, please.
Lotion first to act here on the button. Button, of course, a small blind in heads-up play.
Sit 6 for Zalin, sit for call. All in on a call. Yep.
And Lotion doing exactly the right thing, I think. Just you've got the big stack, just put the pressure on. The other guy looks like he's capable of folding, so just shove all in any two and challenge Grigori to find a hand, which he has done. He's found an ace heads up and he's made the correct call. But you wonder if he'd have had a queen 3 or a jack 8 or something, he probably would have folded. So, it looks a bit crazy. We're all in with 8-4 offsuit. Nothing wrong with that, though. I think it's a perfectly reasonable play.
Well, he's got a gut shot now. That's the chip leader. And now he's hit his 8 as well. So it has to be a 9. An ace, obviously, would win it for Kamadulin. But he's one card away, potentially, from taking down Heat 2. Here's the river. And we have a winner. That's a good performance from Lotion. He's been in charge for a long time. in this heat, and he's finally seen off the challenge of Grigory Kamadulin. And he'll have a shot now at the $20,000 first prize that's on offer in the final. Well played to him.
It was looking kind of, you know, predicted for a while here.
Yeah, it was very easy to play at the end because I was a huge chip leader and there wasn't much I can do wrong.
Who was your toughest opponent at the table, do you think?
Actually, I tried to get out of the way of Manik Löser, who's Swordfish, because I know he's a pretty tough guy to beat, and well, he busted quite early, so it was easy.
And your thoughts about going into the final?
Yeah, I will win. That's my only thought.
We like the confidence. That's about all we have time for here at the PokerStrategy.com TV World Championship. But join us next time for another exciting heat.
New to poker and not sure where to start? Ever wished you could test your knowledge for money? Sign up to PokerFree50.com and answer our simple quiz correctly, and we'll give you $50 to play with free. PokerFree50.com.